Okay, you feel that low rumble. That's not an earthquake, folks. That's Hollywood having a collective meltdown.
Huh, yeah.
We are diving headfirst into a real Hollywood firestorm right now.
That's right. We're dissecting the perceived risk that's turning Hollywood's golden goose, its intellectual property, into a potential time bomb.
And the spark, the thing that lit this whole powder keg. Ryan Coogler's reported 2.5-decade lease deal.
25 years.
25 years. They see this potential scenario where Coogler might actually get control, like real ownership, of the Sinner's IP after 25 years.
Which in studio time is like tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah. It really is wild. And it's like you've got these two factions just dug in, trading blows. Yeah.
Split right down the middle over one deal. Is it just a powerful guy getting a great deal because he earned it? Or is it the first crack in the dam that holds back a flood that could reshape the entire landscape of IP ownership?
Doesn't it? It seems to tap into something really fundamental about how Hollywood's worked for, well, forever.
Exactly. And to really get the panic, you need to understand the bedrock, the absolute foundation of studio financing. Why is perpetual IP so sacred?
Well, owning intellectual property forever, that's been the game. It's not just about the first movie. It's about sequels, prequels, spin-offs, TV shows, theme parks.
Merchandising, lunchboxes, action figures, everything.
Everything. That's the long tail. That's how studios build lasting value, build libraries that are assets on their books. Perpetual ownership allows for endless exploitation across decades.
So the 25-year limit is just unthinkable in that context.
For a potentially major new IP? Yeah. It kind of is. It throws a massive wrench into that long-term planning and monetization strategy. Think about Disney. Walt was actually ahead of the curve, focusing on licensing Mickey Mouse way back when.
Right. He saw the value beyond just the cartoons. And the classic story, Fox giving away Star Wars merch rights in '77.
Unbelievable, right? They had no idea. Billions. Just gone. It taught Hollywood a huge lesson about controlling all aspects of the IP, especially the licensing, for the long haul. Perpetual control became paramount. Goes way back. Even the old studio system with stars under long contracts, basically studio chattel, like, Bogart or Crosby.
Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, huge stars, right? But basically studio property.
Yeah.
Shackled to these insane long-term contracts.
Your career, your choices, all dictated. Imagine how stifling that must have been creatively.
And if you stepped out of line, suspension. Gone for years.
Meanwhile, you had the early independents like United Artists.
Yeah, trying to do their own thing.
But they struggled, not because the films weren't good, but because the studios controlled all the roads, all the distribution. Getting seen was the battle. So Coogler's deal, with that, relatively short 25-year potential reversion, it's like a rogue asteroid heading straight for their financial Death Star.
It just blows up the whole myth. This idea of perpetual control is, frankly, a con.
Oh, totally. The traditional setup, it's rigged from the start. A writer sells a script.
Poof. Gone. Severed. Even the big names. Thanks for the gold, now beat it.
And don't even get me started on studio accounting.
The infamous black box. Good luck figuring that out.
Right. Money goes in, fuzzy math happens, money sort of comes out, but mostly stays in. It's deliberately opaque.
Look how they categorize revenue.
Yeah.
NBC Universal's filmed entertainment is everything from Oscar bait to who knows what. Disney lumps animation with record labels.
It's designed to minimize what they owe the actual creators. Pure and simple.
Meanwhile, over in Europe, directors often get final cut. Imagine.
Final say on their own film. What a concept, eh?
It just highlights the scam, right? Studios use their distribution and marketing muscle to dictate everything and keep most of the cash.
That library, that collection of films and shows, it's often the collateral securing massive loans.
Yeah.
Think of it. We promise you Star Wars, or whatever iconic IP they have, for the next loan.
Exactly. Their library, a treasure trove of past glories and, let's be honest, maybe a few flops they pray you've forgotten. That's their Fort Knox. It's the promise of future cash. From streaming, licensing, that weird reboot no one asked for, you name it.
It all comes back to the library. And here's where the terror, the real night sweat set in. Anything that threatens the future value or, importantly, the control of these library assets sends shockwaves through the C-suites.
Total meltdown.
So that reported 25-year lease, it just screams loss of control, right? A potential future revenue stream locked away for a quarter of a century.
A quarter century. Imagine telling your bank, yeah, that house back in your mortgage, someone else gets to live in it rent-free for the next 2 decades. Hope that's cool.
They'd laugh you out of the building.
It's like drilling a hole in that Fort Knox vault with a rusty spoon. If the perceived value of their collateral tanks, suddenly those billion-dollar lines of credit look about as sturdy as I don't know, a wet paper bag.
Safeguards in a hurricane, yeah.
And when the bean counters start hyperventilating, Wall Street starts twitching like they've OD'd on espresso.
Wall Street hates uncertainty.
Remember, even a tiny dip in perceived library value, say 1 measly percent, that can KO their borrowing power by millions. And think about other pressures, consumer spending dips. That makes subscriber numbers look shaky, squeezing revenue.
And the competition for eyeballs, it's brutal. A gladiatorial arena out there.
Absolutely.
What's truly fascinating here is this constant tug of war. You've got the long-term allure of iconic IP on one side
The crown jewels.
versus the immediate, voracious hunger for capital on the other. Studios are under relentless pressure to churn out new W hits, each one demanding a king's ransom.
Billions with a B.
And their libraries. That's the golden ticket to funding that relentless cycle.
Every new blockbuster attempt is a multi-hundred-million-dollar roll of the dice. Budgets have just exploded.
They're astronomical now.
From quaint sums to numbers that could fund small countries. A flop today isn't just a bad review, it's a financial hemorrhage.
It can cripple a studio's whole quarter or worse.
So they desperately cling to the illusion of safety provided by their existing IP. But what happens when that safety net looks like it's full of holes?
And the digital age complicates everything. While it offers endless distribution, it also unleashes the beast of piracy, doesn't it?
Oh, constantly gnawing away at those potential revenue streams.
And think about the fundamental shift in how content is even valued now. The death of DVDs that used to be a cash cow.
Remember buying DVDs? Seems ancient now.
And the rise of streaming, with its whole subscription-based economy, it just breeds uncertainty. Even those precious advertising dollars are at the mercy of fickle audiences and a shaky market.
Okay, let's zero back in on this Coogler conundrum. 25 years. Depending on the fine print, that could mean NO reboots, no sequels, NO theme park rides, no action figures for that specific property until 2050.
2050.
In Hollywood years, that's basically geological time. Financially, it's an eternity. It's like saying that magical money tree, yeah, someone else gets to shake it for the next couple of decades.
Precisely. And while one deal might seem like, just a blip on the radar,
But it's not, is it?
the fear is that it's a sign of weakening control over their core assets. If other major creators start demanding similar long-term arrangements,
The domino effect.
then the perceived value of their entire library as loan collateral starts to look, well, fragile, very fragile.
Here's where the real drama unfolds. It's not just about losing actual control sometimes. It's the whiff of losing control.
Perception is reality in finance.
Totally. Financial markets run on whispers and rumors just as much as balance sheets. If the story becomes Hollywood is losing its grip on its gold, that can trigger a full-blown panic. Stock prices could plummet, borrowing rates could skyrocket. We even saw rating agencies like S&P and Moody's slap a negative outlook on a major studio recently.
Yeah, I saw that, citing their struggling traditional TV business and debt level.
A direct hit linked to their operating performance and, critically, their creditworthiness. It's all connected.
It's such a hypersensitive ecosystem. Predicting financial outcomes in Hollywood is already like walking a high wire. You're balancing countless assumptions about future viewer habits, market trends.
Everything.
Any hint of increased risk, like locking away valuable IP for decades, just throws another wrench into the already incredibly complex machinery.
So when these execs start whining about the studio system ending because of one deal,
Give me a break.
yeah, play the world's tiniest violin. Their fear isn't about art. It's about losing power, losing money.
Exactly. And Coogler proves them wrong. Sinners, an original film, not a sequel, a hit. It shows filmmaker-driven stuff works.
And that's what's really driving the panic, I think. This resistance to any kind of change.
It's primal. They've run things this way for so long. Anything different feels like the end of the world.
Well, maybe their world needs to end, or at least get a major shakeup.
This could be the spark. Coogler's success might just empower other big filmmakers to demand better deals. Real creative control. Real financial participation.
Imagine that domino effect. A filmmaker uprising.
Towards a fair system, where the people actually making the films get a decent slice of the pie, and a say in what they're making.
Because, let's be honest, the old Hollywood model, spending fortunes, losing cultural grip. Industry analysis says the old ways just aren't sustainable. Global audiences want local stories, different perspectives.
They can't just keep churning out the same stuff and expect everyone to keep buying it.
Okay, so
Right.
let's dare to be optimistic here. Wildly, realistically optimistic.
All right, I'm with you.
Changing this system, yeah, it's going to be tough. A massive fight.
No doubt, it's deeply entrenched.
But the potential upside, wow. More original stories, more diverse voices, actual creative freedom for filmmakers.
A healthier film world overall, it sounds
Yeah.
nice, actually.
If this Coogler deal does set a precedent, maybe studios will have to, actually focus on talent again.
Instead of just digging through the IP vaults.
Yeah. Greenlight, great original films. Support visionary artists,
Radical thinking, I know.
but essential. Think about history home video streaming. Studios panicked at first, right?
Every time. Thought it was the end.
And every time, it turned into huge new moneymakers.
Hmm.
Maybe empowering creators is the next version of that. It could actually benefit everyone long-term, force them to innovate.
So, the bottom line here, Coogler's Sinners deal isn't just paper. It's a potential earthquake.
A flashpoint, yeah.
Yeah.
Could reshape the whole power balance, loosen that death grip on IP.
It really is a call to arms, a demand for a filmmaker revolution.
More control, fairer pay, less interference. Let them make their movies.
Which leaves you, the listener, with a big question, doesn't it?
Mhm.
If someone like Coogler can force this change, what does it mean for creative ownership down the line? What kinds of stories might we finally get to see?
Is this the start? Will we see those metaphorical filmmaker riots finally shake up the old guard? Something to chew on.
Definitely keep watching how these IP deals evolve, because the game might have just been flipped.
But take this thought bomb and be with you. Let it detonate in your minds.
Oh,
If even iconic movies and shows, the ones we thought were timeless, are now seen as potentially depreciating assets,
risky collapse.
constantly threatened by irrelevance or locked away by these crazy long-term deals we talked about, what kind of stories are even being greenlit today?
What gets the money?
Are studios just chasing fleeting trends and easily digestible pap because it feels safer now? Or will some new financial messiah emerge, some new model to truly value and safeguard creative genius for generations to come? So ponder the entertainment you're devouring right now. Is it built to last, or is it actually destined to be just a forgotten footnote in next quarter's earnings report?